Morning, welcome back to the shop. It's been about 5 years since I've actually put out a video, a little over 5 years actually I want to say, because I think it was February of 2021 the last time I put one out. But I'm coming back. We are now downstairs and not the shop. We are actually in the recording studio for the Veterans History and Lyrics podcast. This is actually located down in my basement. But interesting little video today. I had to get something done kind of quick, down and dirty, just to throw it out there. I did promise it was going to be something nerdy, so let's go over how I made this, a book holder, which is for if you have a book, you can hook your thumb right in the middle of it, have it open to the page. You can actually hold the book open in one hand without putting too much strain on your hand, and it holds the pages open for you. I'll see if I can find a book here in a little bit to actually give you a little bit of that here at the end of the video. But getting into it, let's get over into the actual where I am in the shop and just doing a little bit of talking in the video, but mostly just going to be showing you what I'm going through, doing a little bit of audio overlay, audio overlay. That's what we're going to call it. Talking to you while I'm doing this. Voiceover, that's the word I'm trying to think of, while I'm down here in the recording studio with my little editing setup over here in the corner, well, over here in the closet actually. But without further ado, let's get to the shop.
Gonna have to apologize for the quality of this audio here, because my voiceover mic is currently still over at the VFW. I'm actually picking it up this afternoon and bring it back over here to the house. But here you can see in the video, I've got a nice piece of oak. It's an old piece of oak flooring, about 6 inches wide, about 1.5 feet, 2 feet long, that I'm starting off with. I'm actually taking my compass here and setting it out to 3 inches wide, and you'll see why here in a minute, because it just helps me get all the curves and everything like that into it that I wanted to get into this piece of wood. I actually started over on the groove side of the tongue and groove on this piece of flooring, which turns into a problem later on. You'll be able to see that. But I actually measured out 6 inches where I wanted it to be and get me a center mark in it, a little bit down. And you'll have to bear with me on the video and quality of all this, because once again I'm trying to get back into it, but this is just turned into kind of a pain in the butt with trying to remember everything and not having a stationary camera anymore, and I didn't have my tripod out in the shop with me. But I mark out my full size for the top, or for the curve that I want to put in. Sorry for my arm getting in the way there, but just mark out that angle. Then I'm going to cut everything out on the bandsaw, and you'll be able to see that here in just a bit. Using my ruler here just to mark me how far up from the edge that I actually want to go, which you can see that groove in there, which is going to make it a little bit of a pain in the butt later on. But I'm just marking the center of that, where the center of that arch is, so that way I can actually go in, measure up, and see how far in I want to get the drill bit in here. Here I'm using a 1.5 inch Forstner bit. I couldn't find my inch, so this was the closest that I had to it without being so small that I couldn't get my thumb in it. But I'm using the actual bit to mark the center. I'll take it over to my drill press here in a minute, but you see I actually measured it out to where the center of that was going to be, and leave 3/8 of an inch on the bottom of it, to where you can actually get your thumb in it and still have something to actually grip onto that's going to be strong enough to hold it. Wasn't able to actually get my camera over to where you can see me drilling out the hole on the drill press, but it's drilling a hole with a drill press. It's not really that impressive to watch. I'm going in and I'm marking out 3/8 inch up from from that hole on the top of it. Actually, I think I went 5/8 on this one. No, it should be 3/8 on there, but I marked 3/8 up from it, and then, matter of fact, I've got the thing here. I can just measure. Yeah, it was 3/8. I measured it up 3/8. Then just go in, make sure I actually remarked it, because I realized that I was actually off by a little bit. I went to about a 1/2 inch instead of 3/8. Then I come back and I set my compass down to that angle to where I can then mark that out, and then I use the same radius to mark out my, actually I kept the same radius, but I had to use an extra piece of wood here just to set it on to mark it, and then I go ahead and use the compass to mark out the new angle and everything on it that I'm going to have, as well as I use it to mark out the cutouts in the bottom for the pages, which you'll see here. Using the ruler again, I marked in halfway to where I can get the upper point of where that curve was going to be, and then I just lined it up with the bottom of the hole where I drilled, so it should still be at 3/8 of an inch in.
Sorry about the shitty light.
Using the bandsaw, I come over and get y'all set up on a broomstick so you can actually see what's going on. Then I go in and I did use the bandsaw to cut this thing down to where it was just a little bit wider than what I needed it to be. And then I went ahead and started cutting this thing out to the line that I had already marked and showed you how to mark before.
Kind of looks like a fucked up batarang or something. I don't like those grooves.
And since I didn't like the way that those grooves turned out, I used the first one as a template and made a second one.
There we go.
That was cut on the tongue side, so it didn't have the grooves.
Still got the grooves in the back, but we can take care of that.
After throwing y'all over on the bandsaw and setting in my zero clearance insert in my table saw, I set up my fence and then I start working on getting the table saw set for this thing. I go into here in a minute why this wouldn't be a good idea unless you feel comfortable with what you're doing. I'll get into that here in just a few minutes as to why.
Now me running this as close as I'm going to be next to this thing is going to be interesting. But it doesn't actually look like I need to go all the way through. I just need to go to about right there. And push sticks are wonderful. So let me adjust that on over. Better blades width there. A little bit less there. So let's in there. Okay. Take her down. Yeah. We'll try with the flat one first. Enough of the hand sanding. I've got a power sander.
And after going through and power sanding with the 60 grit, I hand sanded with 120, 220, 400. Then I actually did an 800, but I didn't record it. Then I applied some boiled linseed oil to it.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's a little book holder, like I said. That helps take some fatigue off of your hands while you're actually sitting there holding the book. Makes it kind of easy to where once you're done with this page, you can just move it down out of the way, flip it, set it right back in place. Just a little bit of adjustment, you're good to read. Take some fatigue off your hands, just helps you hold the book open. Can be customized a little bit. You could burn things or design things over on the sides, carve it in, burn it in, write it in, draw it on, however you think about it. I didn't want to leave kind of more of a rustic look on this one, so I actually left the burn marks from the tools on there. I didn't sand it all the way down to bare wood again, and it's got some good texture, good feel. Sanded up all the way to 800 grit on here, even though I know I didn't show it in the video. I actually went back and sanded it up to 800 because I didn't like how it really felt. It wasn't smooth enough, but 800 gives it enough texture to where you can still grip onto it pretty good. But yeah, just didn't show it in the video. If you like what I'm doing here and you want to see more of the content like this that I'm going to be putting out, I am going to be getting back to my old quality of videos. This one was just kind of a real quick down and dirty while I've got some other things going on, just to get me back into the swing of things. The video and audio quality is going to come back. We're actually going to have, good microphones down here for the podcast when we get out to that. I will chuck a link down in the description below to throw up, if y'all actually want to go over and see a bunch of veterans sitting around and talking about songs that talk about history and how accurate they are to the history. I'll leave that link to the Veterans History and Lyrics podcast down below, as well as I do now have a merch site up. It is running through vhlpodcast.com through Shopify. If you could go over there and check it out, the best way you can support the channel is actually to hop over there, grab yourself a t-shirt, which I'll throw up the Shop Happens and Table Saws and Dragons t-shirts up here, as well as you can get just the regular Rockin' R's shirts. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you like what I'm doing here and you want to see more of it coming up. Set that bell notification just to let you know when I'm actually putting out another video, which right now I'm thinking about, I'm going to do at least once a month. I'm going to try and do one every other week, so every 2 weeks. Don't know exactly how that's going to work out with doing VHL and this and working and doing everything else that's going on with my life. But other than that, I thank y'all for joining me out in the shop today, and we'll see you next time.